hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. And on today's episode, we're going to be profiling some of the general managers, finalist candidates for the Sharks, and kind of look at why they might be potential fits for the Sharks. And since it's a live show, going to be kind of answering some of your questions as well as they pop up. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now and Fear the Fin. Of course, I want to thank you guys for making us your first Sharks listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, subscribe on YouTube. I'm actually doing this live on YouTube right now. So big thing though right now is, of course, is the Sharks as they kind of are hunting for their general manager. And it's kind of come down. It sounds like there's three candidates, two of which we think are one, Ray Whitney, and two, Mike Grier, and then a potential third mystery candidate who we don't know. So we're going to kind of discuss Ray Whitney and Mike Grier and why they're kind of their backgrounds and what has led them to this potential accepting of the general manager position for the Sharks, and just kind of talk about where the Sharks are at with this and kind of why they've gotten here and how they've gotten here. So let's go ahead and start with I think Mike Grier, who I think is probably of the two, I think the guy I'm leaning more towards. So Mike Grier, of course, a former San Jose Shark. Actually, both guys were both former San Jose Sharks at some point. But so he played in the NHL from '95 to 2011. Kind of a third line, checking guy. Did have a season where he had put up he had a season where he put up 40 points in the 98-99 season with the Oilers, but was known for his penalty kill and being a good guy and stuff, good locker room guy, et cetera, et cetera. After he retired from the NHL, he just went on to become in 2014 became a scout for the Chicago Blackhawks and occupied that role through 2018. 2018 to 2020, he was assistant coach for the New Jersey Devils. And then 21 to 22, he was the hockey operations coordinator for the New York Rangers. So I went back, looked at with the scouting, his scouting days, and we don't know how much of a role he had in with the scouting, with the drafting, but I want to look at kind of some of the players that the Blackhawks that they drafted during his time as a scout. Again, I don't know how much contribution he has. I don't know if I assume he's not like the guy who's like, hey, this is who they should be able to this is who they should be able to draft and stuff like that. But he is, so during that time, I mean, the Blackhawks, this was, kind of coming out of their, their cup runs and stuff like that. But so 2014 draft, they got Nick Schmaltz, which was ironically enough, they traded up with the Sharks to get. So they moved from 27 to number 20 and got Nick Schmaltz. And the Sharks, of course, drafted Goldobin. Schmaltz has been a pretty solid player. He played for, I think he's on the Coyotes now, but in 364 games, 78 goals, 163 assists, 241 points. So, definitely a fine pick. Not, nothing that you're going to write home about, but it's definitely he's an NHL player. So, and then not too much else in that draft, unfortunately for them. Definitely picking kind of at the end of each round because they were still pretty good. The 2015 draft class was pretty much a whiff. They couldn't even their second round pick. They didn't sign or the second round. Yeah, they didn't have a first round pick. They had a second round pick. Like just none of these guys really kind of worked out for them. And then the 2016 draft, one Alex DeBrincat they got in the second round, and he's pretty good at hockey. So, I think so that worked out for him. But then he, like I said, he coaching for the Devils, and I think that's good, kind of working up, and especially if you're going to be a general manager. I think being a player, being a coach, like all that stuff kind of goes, especially with a general manager where you're have to be like kind of like the people person and kind of know everybody and kind of be the public face. And I think going through that and being an assistant coach, that'll help him in the long run, and like building those relationships and kind of knowing the X's and O's of the game is going to help him too with that. And I think with what the Sharks already have in place, especially with the drafting and stuff like that, I think that might be a nice fit there. And then again, and then he's currently the hockey operations coordinator. So I had to actually look up what the hockey operations coordinator does, and they kind of are the kind of liaison between a lot of different things, so working with different departments. And I think if you're going to be a general manager, it's not the worst route to take, right? I mean, we know the Sharks are going to be hiring a general manager without general managing experience, but this isn't the worst route. I think being a scout, being a coach, and then kind of being that liaison between a bunch of different departments, I think that's not the worst resume in the world for a guy who doesn't have actual general managing skills. So before we get into Ray Whitney, and I'm going to, of course, answer some of you guys' questions, do have to take a quick break, of course, and talk to you guys about our friends over at BetOnline. You guys know BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, including Major League Baseball. You've got golf. You've got MMA. Boxing, you've got NFL futures coming up, so they've got you covered for anything that you need betting wise. You can bet on. I know they had betting for free agency with NBA. I'm sure you can bet on where Kevin Durant's going to go. BetOnline's got you covered. So they're the fastest and easiest way to check out all your favorites. So head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Plus, if you guys didn't know, NHL draft is next week. And local experts like myself, experts, are going to be breaking down with insights and analysis with every first round pick. So please join me. I'm going to be doing probably late into the first round or right after the first round ends, a live reaction to the Sharks moves for the first night. So subscribe to Locked On Sharks on YouTube for the latest breakdowns and live reactions on the NHL draft and more. Okay. Ray Whitney, who I think I did a whole thing about. I would be shocked if the Sharks hired him. I might be shocked at this point. It's, he doesn't have the same kind of path, I guess, as Mike Grier. Again, I'm not saying Mike Grier has the perfect path, and you'd want him to have been, maybe assistant general manager for a team for a little while. But again, I don't think it's the absolute worst path for Mike Grier to on his way to become a general manager. Ray Whitney, again, also played, in the league forever. He played 22 seasons, was, of course, the second ever pick by the Sharks way back in the, 91 season or 91 draft. Bounced around the league, of course, playing with the Sharks. So Oilers, the Panthers, Blue Jackets, Red Wings, Hurricanes, Coyotes, and then ended his career with the Stars. after he retired, he became a scout for the Carolina Hurricanes. He did more of the pro scouting, so wasn't as much of dealing with the drafting, but he was part of the pro scout. So it's a little bit harder to kind of look at what they did during that time and like kind of looking at their track record. But and then of course he's been working in the NHL front office in the Department of Safety for the past few years. I think he got hired in like 2018, and he's been there for the past 4 years. So I mean, he's working in the NHL. He's going to have a lot of connections in the NHL. And if you're thinking with the Sharks, where if they Hasselplattner is, he's like, I want to win. I want the Sharks to go in the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. No rebuilding, no retooling. We need to win. The Sharks are going to be aggressive with their moves and potentially trading something. So maybe those relationships that he's kind of built and developed can help to kind of maybe grease some trades for him. But I think I'd like to see him working with an actual NHL team and kind of being able to like, okay, this is what he did, and this is how he helped improve that team. But I think it's apparently he's a smart guy, knows his hockey, of course, all that et cetera stuff. So I'm a little hesitant on Ray Whitney, but who knows? I mean, we've seen guys, plenty of guys who've kind of, been good general managers and stuff. But yes, I did see this. Definitely a fake account tweeting the Jim Benning is the fifth general manager. No, that's fake account. So we can stop that. So do I think Tulsky's out? So Jonathan Reed says, do I think Tulsky's out? I think a lot of the guys that we profiled at the beginning of Kyle and I kind of went through a big list. I think a lot of them said, nah, I'm good. It doesn't seem like the greatest position, right? Where you're not really going to be able to kind of come in and say like, because we as fans, most of us agree that the Sharks, they need to go like kind of tear it down, right? And we've seen look at the Avalanche, where they had a plan, they executed, they burned it down. They were patient with their guys. They, drafted well when they had those high picks, and they let those guys develop, and they were rewarded with it, right? And I think Sharks fans feel like we have some pieces that we can work with, but we don't have enough of those high-end guys. And getting those high-end guys, you usually have to be really bad. And, with the general manager not being able to kind of burn it down, I guess would be the nice way to, or I guess the mean way to say it. I think that might have scared some general managers off, especially where, younger, I don't want to say younger guy, but maybe more analytically kind of, they kind of sound more on analytics. They're going to come and look at this roster and be like, yeah, we're not winning the cup anytime soon with this roster. We should try to reset. But so I don't know. I don't know if, or if, there's a lot of talk of maybe like one of the Tampa or the Lightning guys. It's like, do you want to leave that where you might be contending for cups for the next few years, or just won cups over the last couple of years, to go run this team right now? And so I don't know if maybe the Sharks just didn't really put themselves in the best situation to maybe hire the best general manager. Who knows? It might work out for them, but like, yeah, it feels like, again, it just kind of feels like they have the wrong plan right now. That's my thing. It's just like, and I've talked about this before, where yes, Kyle and I used to, yes, the Sharks should rebuild, but they're not going to. They've made that decision, and we've seen that with the moves they make with re-signing Hurdle and stuff. And I know they're going to try to compete, for the playoffs this year, but like, look at the first thing is you got to try to make the playoffs, right? Edmonton's going to be really good still. Calgary, I mean, I know they're going through they might be losing some pieces and stuff, but like they're probably still going to be pretty good. You know, you've got the Kings are going to be way better this year, especially after training with Fiala, for Kevin Fiala. You know, they've been drafting really well for a long time. The Ducks are going to be better. Like everybody's going to be better in the Pacific. Like the Kraken are, you know, they're starting their process, and I think the Canucks are going to be way better this year too, especially with Bruce Boudreau there the whole year. And like, I don't see where the Sharks, there's plenty of time to do stuff. I don't see the path right now. So again, the Jim Benning tweet, that's a fake account, guys. Come on, we're that time of year. Have your notifications on Twitter for the people that you know. That way you're not going to fall for those. So look for those check marks. Wrong shirt. No, I've been a Dolphins fan my entire life. So when will Mario, we'll get some questions now. So when will Mario be re-signed? So guys, resigned is here. So Mario Ferraro is not resigning right now. Re-signed, signed. I think they're probably going to play the RFA game with him and wait until the last moment. So they have his rights. He's not going anywhere. Don't worry about it. They will take care of him. So, yeah. Before we continue some questions, guys, really quick, let's go ahead and take a quick break here, of course, and talk to you guys about our friends over at Built Bar. You guys know Built Bar, the best protein bar on the market right now. They have coconut brownie chunk puffs. So they've got every month right now. They've had like a new flavor. So coconut brownie chunk puffs, the flavor you're gonna love, and a delicious chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. It's like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness. Stop the drooling and listen. They're good for you as well, with low calorie, low sugar, high protein, and all deliciousness. They're only here for a limited time. So head to built.com to make sure you don't miss out. They're going fast because they taste amazing. Delicious coconut, rich, sweet brownie, creamy marshmallow. Stop fantasizing. Go to built.com and order your box of coconut brownie chunk built puffs right now. Use the promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order. Again, promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. Okay. Some other questions. Do I think somebody's going to get it? I know they have a media thing. There's usually draft stuff. Tomorrow, I'd say like 20% chance maybe we hear, but I have a feeling maybe it's over the weekend that we finally get an announcement. Because I think they want to kind of keep it draft related tomorrow, but who knows? We might get a tweet from old Pierre LeBrun right now, in the first thing in the morning, and then boom. But who knows? With the teal curtain, you never know. So let's see some other questions. Do you think Meyer gets an extension this offseason? Maybe. They have plenty of time. I could see maybe his team again. He's still an RFA going to next year. They still have his rights and stuff like that. So would it be smart to maybe re-sign him this year? I think so, to maybe get it in place. I know there's rules with this RFA when he can actually sign it and stuff like that, but getting him under contract, because what if he just goes out and scores, another 80, 90 points this season, and then his price tag just goes up. So, I think we're hopefully with whoever the new GM is, we're going to see be more aggressive with trying to sign when their guys are younger to long-term deals, instead of kind of, the Sharks are always known for playing this RFA game of we're going to kind of grind through your contracts before we have to pay you long-term. And like William Eklund, right? So, if next year is his rookie season, he plays 3 years, and then he's going to be up for a deal when he's 20, so he'll be 22, 23. Just sign him to, if he's as good as you think he's going to be, sign him to an 8-year deal. And most likely that deal is going to come out looking good for you. Like, look at Cale Makar. Cale Makar signed an 8-year, I think he's like getting paid like $9 million. He's already vastly underpaid for his deal. Do I think William Eklund's going to be Cale Makar good? Probably not, but like, could William Eklund be a superstar in the league? Yeah, probably. So, I think paying, if these special players, just pay them earlier, and then by the time they're at the end of their deal, you can figure out what to do with them. When they're 20, 29, 30, you can figure out what to do with them then. Maybe you're doing 4 or 5 year deals instead of it's just easier to kind of navigate that. So, appears the Devils are open to dealing their pick. Would you trade Meier for a second overall? Again, I talked about this before. The Sharks, they've already said they're not rebuilding. So why, if they were rebuilding, yes, I would totally trade Timo Meier for a second overall and go get yourself, your Slavkovsky, your Logan Cooley. But they're not rebuilding. Like, it's and as much fun as it is, I don't see it. I just don't see them going through that process. And especially it'd be really weird to sign Tomas Hertl and then 4 months later to trade Timo Meier for the second overall pick, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, again, if I was a GM, I would totally do it because I think I would, but I would also like be trying to reset and rebuild this thing. So, let's see. What do you think we'll see once we get our new GM? That's a good question. We'll actually probably get some more news and stuff first, because without the teal curtain has been very, very quiet. Especially with Doug Wilson not being there. At least he would like leak stuff to Pierre LeBrun every once in a while. But I think we'll start to get some more news. We'll start to see some of these deals coming through. We'll get like our RFA deals and stuff. They'll start to figure out like, hey, what are they going to do with the goalie Menage a Trois? Are the Sharks actually going to trade Brent Burns? Or are we going to get a Vlasic buyout? I know the buyout hasn't started, but it's until then it's going to be pretty quiet, because I know Joe Will has, the go ahead to make moves and stuff like that. And they've done that, at the trade deadline and stuff, and, re-signing Barabanov this offseason and re-signing Magna and stuff. But like, I think they're going to wait till an actual GM shows up before they make any kind of real moves. So, what pairing do you see Merkley skating on? It depends. Most likely third pairing, because he's not going to go ahead of Brent Burns. He's not going to go ahead of Erik Karlsson. If any of those guys are gone, then he's going to be your second pairing defenseman. But I think, he's going to have to fight for playing time for that third spot going into this season. I think the right side is pretty set there. And, I think they're going to try to find an upgrade for the left side. But I think right now, he's going to be playing third pairing minutes because there's just too many guys in front of him, right? Are you going to play him up in front of Brent Burns or Erik Karlsson? No, he hasn't earned. As much as I love Merkley, he hasn't earned jumping either one of those guys. And I think he probably deserves a little bit more minutes, and I'd like to see if all three of those guys are on the team next year. I'd like to see Burns' minutes kind of cut down to that like 23, 24 minutes instead of the ridiculous 26, 27 minutes he played last year. Lets him be a more effective Brent Burns. But again, it's, coaches, they want those kids to earn it, and he's not just going to go let him out there. And we've seen with Merkley, even on the same shift, where he can do something amazing and something where you're just like, oh my God, what are you doing, dude? So Merks and Krasinski would be really fun. That would be a really nice pairing. Unfortunately, with Krasinski, even if he gets drafted this year, we're probably not seeing Krasinski in the NHL for like 3 years minimum. To be honest, yeah, because defensemen, they just take so long to develop and make it to the NHL. And I know these Seattle Thunderbirds are trying to kind of gear up for a potential, kind of Western. I know they made it to the Western Finals this year, and they just traded for Brad Lambert's rights. So I think they're a really good team. They're gonna try to keep developing their players and go for something, try to win. Another question here. So probably get your questions in here because I've already gone 25 minutes. Want to kind of cut this here soon. So who is your favorite bounce back candidate? Whew, that's a good one. I got two. We'll go Knyzhov because he missed all of last year. I know it's kind of a little bit of a cop-out, but I thought he was playing really good hockey before, when he was a rookie, and it sucks. So I think we see him bounce back and return to form and kind of help solidify that left side. And then I'll give you a forward. Noah Gregor. I mean, I don't know if he called it bounce back, but regression to the mean is a real thing. And that dude missed way too many goals. So I think you're going to see him potting a lot more goals this year. He's not going to shoot 3% or whatever he shot last year. Like that's not sustainable for him shooting that bad for an entire season. So I think we will see if Noah Gregor's shooting like 7 or 8% or closer to, like 10%, then you're going to feel a lot better about Noah Gregor going after this season. So, and be like, oh, wow, look, if Noah Gregor, I'm not going to say Noah Gregor is going to be like a 20 goal scorer, but if Noah Gregor is scoring like, 12, 15, maybe 17 goals, you're going to be like, oh, that's a really nice third line player though. How many games of Gadovich do we see? I don't know. Gadovich doesn't do it for me. So I'm sorry. He's a perfectly cromulent fourth liner, but he just doesn't do it for me. So, I know he's worked hard and improved his skating and stuff like that. But yeah, sorry. So, all right. That's going to do it for this live show. Thank you guys, of course, for coming in to hang out. If you're just kind of finding the show, especially after the William Eklund interview, if you haven't listened to the William Eklund interview, go do that right now. So William Eklund, he's a delight. So, but yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for making me your first Locked On Sharks listen of the day. I'm Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You guys know I run all those. I'm pretty interactive, especially on Twitter, because I just like hanging out on Twitter. But right now, again, reminder, look for those blue check marks. If it's, keep an eye out for the fake accounts. Have your notifications set for the reliable people, your Parrot LeBrons, your Elliot Friedmans, those type of guys. That way you don't get duped by the fake accounts. Sheng, of course, he's gonna get you covered as well. But social media on there. You can listen, of course, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey. If you're on Apple, please leave a nice 5-star review. It makes me feel good about myself. So it helps to grow the show. YouTube, of course, you guys are watching this right now. If not, check us out. Check me out on YouTube. We'll be live right after the draft on next Thursday. So we'll have a nice reaction to what's going on. Welcome in our newest Sharky boy. And yeah, find me on Twitter at myfryhole. Go check out the Locked On NHL show. So after you guys are done listening to this, and next week is draft week, guys. We made it. We made it to draft week. So bye, friends.